Greetings, I am Liz and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal and I use they, them.
And let's play a game together. I was gonna be like, let's bake a bakery together. Wait, you can't bake a bakery. Let's play a bakery together?
Let's learn how to bake together.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's do it. I've wanted to visit Oceania for ages, but I don't think I could handle the heat there in the winter, let alone the summers.
If I remember right, that's Australia, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Oceania it's a section of...
It's parts of Australia?
Well, no. It's like, Oceania is considered to be like an area, so it's not, I think, just Australia,
Oh,
but
it's
it's
also
like
the
New
ocean
Guinea
parts,
and...
yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
I think there's other parts too.
A section of the world.
Yeah, I think.
Got it.
If I remember correctly. Feel free to correct me.
Alright.
Thousands of ash islands dotted with strange Siberian artifacts thrown across the planet by the Dark Age cataclysm sounded right up my alley.
Is that what that is?
Well, it's also possible some of this world has changed.
It's
so,
true.
yeah. What about sheepsit? Is that going to be a problem for you? I don't really know much about immigration. Oh my god.
Uh-huh.
This
It's here.
is...
Like I said, the narrative's there. They're doing it.
Ah, it is. Good job.
No, I'll be fine since I've lived here so long. I still think it sucks though, and that poor sheep. I can't believe the Prime Minister wants to let her kid bite it back, or she won't accept an exit deal.
Oh god.
And again, going to simplifying the absurdity of
Yeah.
basically the things that catalyze these kinds of giant actions.
Yeah, it's true. I hadn't heard about that yet, but it didn't surprise me in the slightest. The exit negotiations were growing increasingly surreal.
Yes.
Yeah, with a ring, the shop door opened and in strode a familiar face.
Oh, what's up, sluts? Hey, Heidi. Are you just popping in for lunch? You bet. Can't hang around long. I have some stuff to sort out of the shop.
She shot me a slightly scary look. I think it was meant to be friendly, but it's kind of hard to tell with Heidi.
Scary. Can I get 20 soy meat rolls and a whiskey? Heidi, I did sell alcohol. How many times did I tell you?
Greg said as soon as she got half a litre bottle of Dusty Dunes whiskey out from under the counter and poured it into a paper cup, coffee cup. Greg said as she got... Oh, wow, she just reached over.
Him, I don't sell it. Her, I know, but it's here. Oh, sorry. Greg, I don't sell that. Her, but it's here. It's here.
I'm not selling
it. I don't have a liquor license. I'm not selling it.
Yes. Heidi smiled and winked at me. I winked back and probably looked pretty silly.
Hi. Well, I better get going. See you later, you two.
I'm assuming she got also the 20 soy.
I assume that already happened. Oh, Heidi, before you go, do you sell any boxes? I need some. Boxes? Yeah, I have some boxes. You can have them for free. Honestly, I have plenty to spare.
Honestly, I have loved
plenty
that.
spare.
Yeah, plenty spare. So I've loved that about working at various different jobs where you're like, they just have 90 million boxes.
And for the
they're
most
just
part,
here.
they get used once and then they get recycled or thrown away.
Yep.
And it's like, and the thing is because once they're not perfectly beautiful, or if they've had, the tape torn off them or something, you can't reuse them because it doesn't look professional.
Uh-huh.
And
Which is so
it's really
frustrating.
disappointing because so many people could use that stuff.
They really could. So actually, when my friend and I worked at one place together, we actually ended up taking a ton of boxes just because it was like, why not? Because they were also so hardcore.
There were
Holy shit.
So there was a few things there that they had in these really sturdy, extremely durable boxes.
Yes.
So a lot of moving boxes are like 2-ply cardboard, and these were like 4-ply or something. Like they were like 4 times as heavy and as sturdy, or something. They were a lot more.
They were intended to hold anything from 50 to like 80 or 100
pounds in a little cube.
Yeah, it was wild.
And so these things do not collapse, they do not fold, they are sturdy as hell.
They were frightening sometimes.
I love them.
Hooray!
Awesome. I'll come pick them up later. Nice.
Nice.
I'll see you then, dude.
Heidi left and we got back to icing. What do you need boxes for, Greg? Before Greg could respond, the shop's phone started to ring.
I'll get that.
So I'm like, there is something going on here, but I don't think it's Greg is losing the place. Like, part of me wants to be like, I don't think it's that.
Greg is stressed about something else.
Yeah.
It is some other thing.
They picked it up and gave a chirpy hello. I like to eavesdrop at the best of times, but when Greg's face dropped and they ran into the cupboard, I knew I wouldn't be able to resist.
Hi. Yes? Like, most of it? No, that's too much. No, I can't. I don't have enough. I think they're being extorted.
I
I think Greg's being extorted in
They
some
might
fashion.
be.
Right, I know. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll try harder.
Or it's going like you are actually doing some sort of underground thing. Remember the thing that Trixie just sort of guessed offhandedly, and Greg was like, "What? Never! I'm legitimate."
No way.
Yeah.
Bye.
Also, again, the thing about I don't sell whiskey, and then you actually have whiskey at the counter.
But you don't sell it. It's probably just there because of her, though.
It might be.
It might be just. For
I'm curious anyway. It's fun. It's fun to speculate.
I totally am.
Greg re-emerged from the cupboard. They looked defeated, hurt even.
Aw. Sorry, Trixie. Business stuff? Huh.
Are you okay, Greg? I want to talk about it. I'm not usually one to ask that. I don't have the energy to deal with my own problems, let alone other people's. But seeing the usually chirpy Greg break down like this caught me off guard.
It's nothing important. Just, the bakery hasn't been doing so well recently. I've been relying on selling in bulk to a couple of big businesses. A few hundred pastries a day for their canteens and stuff, right?
Canteens?
You know, they're like you go to the cantina, their canteens. They're little restaurants or they're little cafes in-house, their canteens.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Which would just be a British term for basically their lunch places kind of thing, or, food carts.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Problem is, I haven't been able to keep up with the amount they need. Most of them have already dropped me.
Oh, I know this feel. Okay,
so
you
were going, I can do this, but I can't do it that big, it's just me.
Yeah, I was hoping you would stay and help me.
That's what I said. It was maybe I won't have to work so much soon because I'll have you as an employee.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought it was. That was Kuba Inc. on the phone. The CEO personally phoned to complain I wasn't making them enough pastries for their lunch. I've got a week to turn it around. If not, well, I have to get exposed, I guess. I have to find a new job in seller marketing, maybe.
Oh, baby.
But your eyes are so cute. I feel for you, Greg. Sorry, Trixie. I didn't mean to... wipes tears, snuffs up. I didn't mean to kill the mood.
They were trying their best to backtrack and pretend everything was fine. Hey, no worries, Greg. I wish I could help, but I looked at Greg's pristine cupcakes, and then I gazed in fear upon my abominations. I don't think I'm cut out for baking.
That's okay, Trixie. It's my problem to deal with, not yours. It really isn't.
They seemed to think for a moment.
Hey, Trixie? Are you into spooky magic stuff by any chance?
For sure. I studied at uni. Kinda. Why?
I thought so. You look like the type.
Was it that obvious?
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
There's I guess it's kind of a plan I have. Maybe you could help me with it.
Oh god.
Oh god.
Is this where this gets twisted?
The occult, solution to your real capitalism problems.
I wasn't sure I liked where this was going.
This is probably going to sound really silly, but a few years back I got a hold of some book, Cryptids of the South, I think.
Oh, sweet. I read that last term instead of doing my actual work.
I wish I could actually major in the stuff I was interested in, but there's not a degree for it. My friend, looking at a college way the fuck across the country from where they lived or whatever, because of going, but they do a storytelling degree there.
Yeah, that was a thing I wanted to do, and it's still frustrating. Anyway, I was like, wow, I could write my report on spooky monsters. Sorry, it is a thing that I think about once in a while, just be like, it would be a lot of fun, but I'm also just, it was so interesting to actually spend time in, very briefly, even as I did, where I lived for a brief period of time in Tennessee. And going to that particular school where it was on, so the campus is ETSU. So ETSU, so Eastern Tennessee State University, is the only one in the country, as far as I understood, at least at the time, and it might have changed since then, but it was the only place you could get a master's in storytelling, which was really cool. And we had some of the most amazing plays, and we had some astounding master storytellers from around the country and around the globe who would show up and just be like, here, let me perform. It was just so neat. It was amazing.
And storytelling is a really, really cool art.
It really is.
I dabble in it extremely lightly when we do Let's Plays, but it's not something I've ever had a real clear passion for. I kind of want to write at some point. But my friend really loves to tell stories.
I mean, it is fun. I'm no good at it. My friend here is the one who's the GM, so I don't know what you're talking about.
We both have different specialties.
You are actually telling stories, friend.
I always feel like I'm just working with everyone else's material. I'm like, here's a tiny little prompt. Everyone says shit. And we'll weave that into something, yes.
Yeah, but that's part of how... Anyway, so,
I don't work well on my own.
You do. A report on spooky monsters. Do you know how a lot of storytellers work? Not on their own. Then I reread the report brief and realised it was meant to be about some old dead language. I had to get my friend to bail me out.
Hey, it's a fun book, right? Pretty silly, but when I started struggling to keep up my orders, I remembered one of the entries. The antlered tree.
Oh, yeah. They're like some old food god or something, right? I can see why you'd like that.
Because then they could produce the food you need, you know, right?
Oh.
But the antlered tree is meant to bless people in need with endless amounts of food, right? So those weirdos up in North Acres, they worship the antlered tree, didn't they?
Yeah, ever since the Dark Age, I think.
Exactly, when the entire country was starving because of the ash storms. I love the alternate history immediately, it's so good.
Oh, right, about 1.8 million people died over here? I was trying to make myself look smart by quoting one statistic that stayed with me from my college courses required reading.
That's
God.
fun.
But yeah, I studied the Dark Age back at college. It was pretty bad.
I'm like, occasionally I have one statistic to quote and then people go, ooh.
You're smart.
You're smart because for some, okay, so the type of intelligence that we socially find really valuable because it's lauded freaking everywhere and there is a formula for this is what's good is math.
Yes.
And the memorization of exact names and statistics. If you go, hey, I read a book once that said this thing, people go, by whomst called what? And it doesn't matter if you go, well, I think it was sort of called this, and it was by a girl, by a woman author. It doesn't matter. You need to know what the author's name is or it didn't happen.
Yes.
And
I mean, which is totally fair, but also at the same time too,
hand,
if you can at least give them what the statistic was, they can look it up themselves.
Exactly.
Like there is you're like, I've given you this much. There is some level of going, I don't remember that because it was a thing that I was able to easily find. So you should be able to find it if you take some time.
Yeah, yourself. Like it's just one of those things.
There is something to be said though, where they're like, you can't actually get everything on the internet because there are some things people really haven't talked a lot about, or it's a very specific niche thing.
But also, if you have the full title of a book, even if you remember that, because I often don't remember the full title,
right?
And then I'll remember what it's about,
right?
Because this is what I'm talking about. And then people go, but if you don't know the author, you haven't been. Oh,
impressive. You're not valid.
You're not impressive, even if I could easily look up the author by that title,
right?
So you probably know North Acres was one of the only places in the country to have a death rate below 5%, right? The others have a ton of farms and stuff, so it made sense. But Ovington,
maybe?
Ovington in North Acres?
I'm not sure. I actually don't even know what that... I'm like, it might be a native thing, actually.
It was a mining village. It had to import most of its food from the nearby towns. And they didn't have any to export during the famines.
They were right. It was a pretty well-known fact.
People say a stranger arrived at Ovington. I can do this. Ovington.
Or Ovi?
Ovig. I think Ovig works better for my brain. When the villagers started to get ill. Ovington and some of the nearby villagers started to worship the antlered tree and survive the Dark Age with no trouble. So my point is, if the antlered tree can help them, maybe it can help me now. I know this probably sounds like I'm mad, but I really believe that if this creatures really could help me, I might be my only chance to save the bakery.
Greg did sound a little mad, but I wasn't exactly one to judge on that front.
I really just spent an entire day looking for a fictional, mythical cursed play, and found it. So you know what? We could be all right.
I wonder if this is all going to be here's basically so you're more or less your insanity ones, right? Your insane sort of stories, your endings would be largely with Greg and Belle, and then Heidi's the one who's like, no. Fuck that noise! Is the only one, and you're the one who basically goes on the trip, and Heidi's the one who's trying to stop you.
Wait, hello? I'm pretty grounded, actually. It's fine.
Fuck that noise.
If I had an endless supply of pastry, that's my problem solved, right? I know it's a selfish use of endless food, but, anyway, it sounds like you know all about this stuff, and I guess if you don't think I'm being too ridiculous, it would be real cool if you wanted to, help me contact this thing, if it's real. I've already been making some plans to do this by myself, but if you're willing to help, it might be easier.
I was taken aback. Greg wanted to contact some kind of mysterious woodland god. Was that generally a bad idea? Greg, that's before I could reply, a group of woolsutters burst in. I guess from Woolfest going on in town today. I have expected to see Tabby, but I don't think she was there. It's not like she would have said hi anyway. She probably wasn't interested in talking to me. They all bought grass cakes. I guess they were getting into character. After they left, Greg spoke up again.
So, what do you think, Trixie? Do you want to go along with my silly idea?
I couldn't say no. Greg deserved to keep their bakery, and if this is at best silly and at worst horrifically dangerous scheme made them at least feel better about the situation, I'd go along with it.
I can't do anything else, so I can at least do this.
I can at least support you.
I can at least, support. I'm an ally.
It's okay, I'll get you your bra. In retrospect, this was a poor decision. Sure, Greg, you can use my expertise. I gave them a smile and tapped my little brain. Greg ran over to me for a hug, but I guess my face went into the about-to-be-hug grimace I've adopted ever since puberty hit me.
Sorry.
Not really into hugs. Sorry, Greg. Maybe another time? Greg seemed to understand.
Thank you, Trixie. So, there's this book called The Notes of Ilaria de Vonenenborg. Ilaria de Vonenenborg. Apparently she knew a lot about this kind of stuff. There's only like 2 copies though.
Yeah, one of those spooky grimoires. I'm pretty sure they're always kind of bullshit though. I said this, but at the back of my mind I couldn't help but think of the King in Yellow. After seeing Nikita last night and feeling the pull of that play's yellow pages.
I mean, sure, most of them probably are, but the notes of Ilaria and de Vonenenborg, well, I've heard things about it. Anyway, I might be able to get hold of a copy soon. But let's talk about tomorrow. We have cakes to ice.
About that.
Let's talk about that tomorrow. We have cakes to ice.
We iced for a little longer, but eventually I had to get going. Greg let me take some of their cupcakes back to my room for lunch, which was nice. I think mine ended up in a biohazard bin, honestly. It had been a nice, if strange day.
And we walk back, actually,
it's
to our
so
door.
Charming. I love that.
I like it, actually.
According to Poppygon.com, Cyber Drac Cool Yas from Mars was getting a reboot, so that was cool. Cyber Bat Razor had a new design, somehow even hotter than the old one. Irrelevant, sorry again. That was some pretty exciting news, but pretty soon that night took a turn for the worst. I'd been gorging on the cupcakes I brought back from Greg's all evening, thinking about what we'd spoken about. I decided to wait till I saw Greg again to look into it. Eventually, I managed to get to sleep. You forgot about Nikita.
You did.
Nikita,
Completely.
only to be immediately woken up by knocking at my door. If it was Nikita, she'd be shouting abuse at me by now. So who was it?
Trixie, this is important. We need to talk. It's about the King in Yellow.
My blood froze. I'd completely forgotten to check up on Nikita, and by the sound of it, she'd deteriorated somewhat.
I love how consistent this game is with, yes, this thing happened, and she's like, this thing, it happened. Like, whatever we're understanding about the game is actually like what's going on. Even where, like, again, and again, it's the sort of thing of, like, Trixie is, an inconstant narrator, but at the same time is a grounded person, even as she's, like, stressed out and overwhelmed by everything. She's like, I said I would do this, and I fucking forgot.
Oh, right?
Yeah,
no, I do like it a lot. It's also really interesting.
There's this level of really connecting to the anxiety of Trixie as a person too, and going, anxious people that I know, they forget things constantly, but they also know what they intended to do.
Yeah.
And so they don't lose track of their entire reality. They just drop the ball consistently because they're so overwhelmed that it's hard to remember when what,
Right. I shouted a mess of words at her, my half-asleep mouth barely functioning. The knocking stopped. I managed to get my clothes on and opened the door.
Trixie, sit with me.
She took a seat on my bed, the King in Yellow clutched in her hands. I was taken aback. Nikita always looked faintly repulsed by my hygiene. She would normally never consider touching any of my stuff. Nikita, are you okay?
Trixie, shut up. I'm fine. Now sit down and listen to me. I already told you, this is important.
She didn't look fine. She looked even worse than last time I saw her. I nervously sat down. My eyes were drawn to the closed play. It was only a book, but it seemed to suck the air out of the room. I felt cold, confused, scared.
Trixie, I finished reading it. It says so much. I can't. You need to read it for yourself to understand. It's just so... I can't explain. My head is maelstrom. But Trixie, my point is, I'm in this play. I'm in this play. Or I mean, I can tell it's supposed to be me. Trixie, I am the heir to the broken throne. I'm the heir to Carcosa.
I was dumbstruck. What was Nikita on about? She was a character in some old play. The heir to a fictional city. It was madness. Nikita, I think you need to sleep. You're not making any sense. How about you wait here and I'll go get someone to help me?
Trixie, you're not going to get me sectioned. Don't you dare accuse me of being sick or mad. Oh, we both know I'm smarter than you, so shut up and listen to me.
was born to me with genuine malice. She was scaring me. I think you're too overwhelmed. Like, I just fucking woke
I
up.
apologize and let her continue.
Okay. I apologize. I'm sorry, Nikita. Oh, listen. She stood up, pacing for a moment, the book still in her hands.
Clutching the book for dear life.
Eventually she stood over me, tried to look tall. I
helped
leant
her
back a
look
little,
tall.
hoping if she got what she wanted, she would calm down a little.
Yes! Actually, I tried to help her be tall.
Yes!
Actually, okay, that is such a strong placating behavior, though.
Yes.
Like, of going...
And fits his character really well.
It really does, but it's also, again, it's something I've seen and also done in real life. When someone's desperately going, I need this social position to function, and I'm attacking you, you could go, let me try and put you in that social position so you can stop fucking attacking me.
Right.
So you can, if you have what you want, maybe you'll stop being dangerous.
Right.
You know? I, in the air, to Kakotha! Trixie! At first, I didn't believe, but all the signs are there. All of them! I got this. I've had it since I was born.
She pointed at the white freckles on her face.
You recognize them, right? The Hades, the constellation, the eternal prison of Kakotha?
I gazed at Nikita's face. It was hard to be sure, but her markings were definitely familiar. I'd seen them before in my vision of Carcosa that night in my dreams. No, still lowered. I see it.
A little adjustment.
I mean, it's hard to tell. I don't know much about stars. That seemed to placate Nikita somewhat, but she still seemed pretty unhappy with my lack of certainty.
Look, Trixie, just read the play. It's not just the markings, it's this. That's so much.
I noticed she didn't give any examples. Nikita dragged my desk over to the bed. It screeched across the floor, but I didn't want to stop her.
Okay, so that's the sort of thing where sometimes when people get in my face, or other people that I've seen who either have anxiety or in a position of subordinates to someone, and the person is like, I am telling you this thing over and over again, but they're not being specific at all. And you, in your brain, your own mind, you go, you're not giving me any examples, but you can't put that together into words because you're not allowed to say it. And if you do, there's no way to say it that's not confrontational.
Yes.
You're not allowed to say, can you give me an example? That's confrontational. You're not allowed to say, you didn't give any examples. That's confrontational. You're not even... confrontational. I'm in a hurry. I apologize.
I'm like...
Confrontational.
I'm watching, I'm always like, are you actually saying confrontational?
Confrontational. It's like, and then there's this experience of going, even if you say, like, what do you mean? Or the, you know, could you explain more? They're like, I am explaining.
Right.
And it's just, there's no right answer. You just kind of have to sit there and take it and then suffer.
Yeah, pretty much. Which is actually a thing also I will say, it is a good thing to keep in mind when a lot of people assert things, sort of go like, okay, but I will listen to what you say, but then I will also do my own research.
Yes.
And I will also do my own research. Like, that is a good way, like, you can totally be like, sure, that sounds interesting. I'll get back to you on that kind of thing. Like, huh.
Or, you know, like, I hear what you're saying.
I hear what you're saying. It doesn't mean you have to agree with them, though. You're just going, I acknowledge what you've said, but then you just kind of stop there. You do not have to believe what people say at all. And that includes even us. Please, do your own research, like, for sure. Like, don't just believe YouTubers simply because they sound like they say things with authority. We say a lot of things with authority because we don't have resources and stuff in front of us, and so the only thing we have is basically based on experiences or things we
Or it's
remember.
an authority because it's my authority on myself.
Yeah.
I know my own opinion.
Right?
It doesn't mean it's the truth of the world.
No, not at all. I didn't want to stop her. She sat down next to me again and placed the King in Yellow on the desk.
Read, please. You'll understand.
I looked down at the play. Ever since I first laid eyes on the book, laid eyes on it, the book had been at the back of my mind. I wanted to read it. I carefully reached out and ran my hand across the cover. It was cold.
Open it, Trixie. We don't have forever.
Opened the King in Yellow. Because that's all I can do. I opened the King in Yellow.
That's amazing. Oh. Okay. So in that case, so all the time in these games, we ask about why is there only one choice?
You ask about it.
I do.
I've asked a couple times
in the past
because it has been sort of pointedly dumb. Like, there are still some choices where I go, that's goofy.
Like, why are we
just
clicking on this one thing? It should just be happening.
Yeah.
But in this case, I feel like it exemplifies really hard the pressure being put on Trixie of, I have to make the choice to open the book, but it's the only choice I can make because she's standing over me going, you'll do this.
Yeah.
And that's just such a... I feel a much more accessible usage of there's one option because it really has been made very, very clear that you've been cornered and you feel like there's no other choice, but it's still a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I liked it.
A lot of time passed. Initially, I was disinterested. Nikita had obviously been skimping on sleep. A play written over a century ago did not reference her. It could not. Strangely, I remember little to nothing of the play's contents. It seemed to pass through my mind like wind, not like water, but wind. I love that. But while I remember little, in my mind, I could still see the black stars hanging in the sky, the rolling clouds breaking against the dread galleys of the Imperial Navy, and the terrible remains of the broken throne. When Nikita saw me finish Act 1, she spoke for the first time since we had opened the play.
Do you see it yet? Do you see me?
No, Nikita. There's never any mention of an heir, or you, or anything. It's just... Oh, jeez. I don't even know how to describe it. What is this?
What are you saying? You can't see me? Can't you read? Give it back to me!
She wrestled me for the book. My desk toppled over in the struggle. I needed the play. It was mine now. Give it to me, Nikita! I realised I'd let go to shout at her. I quickly grabbed it again, but it was too late. Nikita shoved me and I tumbled to the floor. As I fell through the air, I caught a glimpse of the first line of the second act. In that moment, I only saw a blur of ink scrawled in onto a yellowed page. I'm not even sure I truly read it, but it left an imprint in my mind, nevertheless. More than anything else that happened in the next few days, no matter how bad it got. Nothing compared to this. If I could destroy all the memories of this year, my new friends, my education, even my transition, I would. For the opening of the second act of The King of the Yellow was terrible, unlike anything imaginable. I hit the ground with a thud. My head spun and my vision blurred. A feeling of dread, the likes of which I had never known, hit me like a gunshot. My head felt light as I raised my hands to indicate my surrender. They shook, as if I was about to faint. What I read in the book stays with me even to this day, and I have no intention to repeat it here, lest the rereading it bring me new, more terrible insights. That line changed everything. Nikita was right. The broken throne belonged to her.
You believe me now, don't you, Trixie? Never doubt me again!
I saw Nikita grab a sharp knife off of my desk. It was a super sharp, but I had no intention of finding out whether it could cut skin and shuffled across the floor away from Nikita.
Now get out! Get out of here! It's my room. I never should have let you read this. You don't deserve it.
But this is my room.
Yes, thank you.
A small semblance of normality returned to Nikita's face. She seemed to have snapped out of her fury. I needed to use this chance to calm her down. I brought up the student union election, tried to distract her with my coursework, told Nikita I was wrong, broke down and cried.
Oh, God. Oh, God, what would be the first thing that would come to mind? Because that's really what I go to, is like, what's going to pop into your mind first?
I think the thing is like the unrelenting horror that you just had from that first line. Mm-hmm. I think you've just, like, I have realized now that this is all madness. I've just been woken up. I am emotionally taxed. I would go down with broke down and cried.
All right, that makes sense to me.
Like, that would be me, because, like, bringing up a student union, I think you're just too emotionally overwhelmed.
I would say, based on that we're in the future reading what was happening then, and going, this thing fucking, it just wrecked me. Yeah, broke down and cried makes good sense. I like that.
I broke down and cried. I didn't know what to say. I just broke down in tears.
You saw my calling inked into the page, Trixie. Whether you want to admit it or not, you have always known where I was headed. To Carcosa, to the broken throne.
I had heard the mention of the Forsaken City. Surely Nikita couldn't truly intend to sit upon its throne.
Look, Trixie, you had your chance to join me as my underling. But it's clear the decay of this world, its silly parties and fun have ruined you. You could have shined as bright as the twin suns. Disappointing! Disappointed!
She took off, running from my room with the play and her weapon. I was left alone on the floor, a trembling mess. I scrambled for the door and managed to lock it, my heart thudding in my chest as my mind tossed and turned like the dread fleet at anger. I should have been more worried about Nikita. She was clearly a danger to herself and others. Oh, God.
But sometimes.
But all I could think about was the King in Yellow. I only remember parts of the night that followed. My mind raced almost non-stop. Every now and again I'd fall asleep only to wake up elsewhere in my room. On one occasion I woke up in the middle of the university's courtyard, alone and cold, but thankfully clothed.
Oh, small victories.
But how I'd gotten through the security on the front desk, I don't know. At some point my phone buzzed. Nikita was messaging me.
Why didn't you believe me, Trixie? You had your chance to serve me at the foot of the broken throne and rule the city of decay. Why do you have to ruin it? The king's tattered hand will guide me, and me alone, to the path you made for me. The twin skulls will guide me to twin suns, the night that never ends, unto the pale moon, unto the black stars, unto the bleeding sky. This is what I was meant to be, always. I was meant to be the ruler I was meant to be. Do not be scared, Trixie. You know this is right. You know this is why is the way things are supposed to be. You know I am kind. I will not allow the king to harm you. And when the gate opens, I promise.
It continued in that manner for a long time. Maybe hundreds of messages from Nikita, all completely incomprehensible. She seemed set on setting upon the broken throne underneath the rotten spire of Carcosa. My phone started buzzing almost non-stop. Similar messages poured through from hundreds of unknown numbers. I tried to block them, but more and more flooded through. Were these all coming from Nikita? Did she have friends? Was there something far worse? Nikita had a weapon. She was unstable. I thought about how she had spoken earlier that night. It had scared me. I needed help, but who would believe me? I couldn't burden Greg with it. They already had drained their bakery's issues to contend with. And, well, to be honest, they didn't seem like the type who could handle serious danger like this. They were the police. I didn't like them, but maybe they were my only hope. I phoned the police. Did nothing, and I knew the police wouldn't help me.
Honestly, we talked a few times about we can call 911 when someone's in danger to themselves and others.
We don't even know where Nikita is at this point, and it sounds like...
Well, it's true, but you could also... It also depends on whether we're organised enough to go to, hey, one of my dorm mates ran out of their room. I'm wondering if they're okay. I haven't seen them.
Right.
Or they've been missing. And they could go into a checkup, but it depends on what your organisation is. Because there really is a level of, okay, if you're ever in a supernatural weird situation, I'm just going to tell everyone that might be listening in this moment and in the future of
right.
going, and an emergency phone number exists, whether you're in America and it's 911 or otherwise. You can call them and say, hey, I'm worried about fill-in-the-blank person. Can you check on them? And you don't have to give any context at all. They can ask why you're worried or what you think it is, and you don't have to be specific. You could say they were acting strangely, or you could just say, I'm worried about them. Could you please check on them? I haven't seen them. Could you please check on them? And then they will go and do a check-in. They will knock on the person's door and see if they're there.
At least that's what they're supposed to do.
And that's what they've done the only times I've ever called them.
Okay. Like, I hope so. Like, sometimes I just go like,
Well, and you did that once, and
yeah.
they did, and they went and did a
Well,
check-in.
the thing was I explained what was going on.
It's true.
So,
it's true.
like, that's different, though, than going, you can, just get away without saying anything. So, anyway, we're actually out of time.
We
so we're
totally
gonna come
are.
back to this in the next one. So, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. So, next time we might phone the police, or we will do nothing.
We will
have
see
to
what
figure
happens.
it out. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and also share our videos. It actually does a lot for our channel. It helps inform the algorithm that we are active. And also, you can do this actually for any of your favorite YouTube channels. If you share, promote, like, follow, subscribe to their channels, you actually help them, or comment. It does a lot for them, but no pressure, of course, because you're not obligated in any way, shape, or form. Holy cow.
Nope.
But it would be nice. However, also, please feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi and our Patreon and our Twitch and our Twitter. And good lordy, we have some links in the YouTube description down below. Please feel free to check them out. We'd love to see you there. And I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you.
Bye!